Hello and welcome to Rev Sports. I'm Gargi Raut. Last evening, the government of Pakistan made their decision regarding the ICC T20 World Cup. A tweet from the official handle of the government of Pakistan stated that the country will be participating in the marquee tournament, but also confirmed its stance of a boycott of the game against India. We have spoken to our sources, and the sources have said that the PCB could be heading into dangerous territory, with Pakistan potentially facing serious repercussions, including the risk of being barred from international cricket. Now, we've spoken to an ICC. The ICC board meeting is expected Tuesday, between Tuesday and Thursday, while no official communication has been received from the PCB. Back channel negotiation discussions are already underway, is what the sources are saying. Sources also add that India's participation in last year's Asia Cup was to safeguard the interest of associate nations, and that Pakistan's current stance is being viewed as harmful to the wider game. Ashok Nambudiri, Debashish Sen, and Shomik Chakrabarti are joining me at this point. And Ashok, I'll start with you. I'll flash this on the screen. ICC took note of the government of Pakistan's tweet, and there was a press release. One of the main paragraphs of that press release was this: the ICC hopes that PCB will consider the significant and long term implications for cricket in its own country, as this is likely to impact the global cricket ecosystem, which it is itself a member and beneficiary of. This quite clearly seems like a very strict language. At this point, how are you interpreting ICC's media release and what they've replied to the tweet of government of Pakistan?
I'm glad, Gargi, that you brought this up right up front. In fact, the two words that stand out and scream at me are significant and long term. And we'll come to that in a minute. But I think, the first observation is that ICC has been extremely proactive because, as I understand, they have still not heard formally from the PCB. But they have gone ahead and opened up back channel conversations. They have taken it up proactively. And I think that sets a new precedent because that is the role that the ICC should be playing. And I've written about this, I've talked about this, and I think that's critical. Obviously, it's got long-term implications for the game. It's got long-term implications for associate nations, and needless to say, for the development of cricket in the ecosystem across the world, this is critical that this gets addressed forthwith. And therefore, absolutely right and proactive of ICC to have taken this up. Now, the two words, significant. I think ICC is not mincing their words when it comes to the statement that they have put out. It's beautifully crafted, and I think the word significant is important because it means that there is going to be an impact, both financial as well as statutory, in terms of perhaps an action that could tantamount to a ban is potentially possible, and that's what the word significant construes. The other is long term, which is that there are implications in terms of that this will not blow over easily. It is something that they should wake up and talk about internally, discuss internally, and reconsider is the other thing that the ICC is saying, because they have made it very, very clear. The other part of this, the other aspect of this is that it is not as simple as Pakistan boycotting the match against India on February 15th. You see, the operative term to consider here is that it is a selective boycott. Why am I saying selective? Because they're not boycotting the tournament. They are saying we will selectively boycott that one match. What are the reasons for that? We've debated this endlessly. Security is not a consideration. Geopolitical tensions is not a consideration. So what is the reason? Without stating a reason, they've chosen to do a selective boycott. And the other aspect of it is the timing. With 5 days to go for the kickoff of the tournament, I don't think people understand the amount of work that goes in terms of preparation for something like this. From a broadcaster perspective, on ground, on air. There are commentators, there are technical crews getting ready for something like
You
this.
know,
Timing is
Ashok, I'm going to ask you in detail the broadcaster's perspective. So I'd like you to save that answer for a little later. But I'll go over to Boria now, who's joining us. And Boria, I'd like to ask you, how serious is this situation? How serious could the repercussions be?
Pakistan's situation has become very, very serious. From what I understand from having spoken to multiple sources, multiple member boards, administrators within the ICC, former administrators as well, the ICC is mulling all kinds of action now because they feel that India, for example, played the Asia Cup clearly to protect the interests of global cricket. There were other associate nations involved who make a lot. Their entire cricket runs with the money that is provided by India-Pakistan games. For India, it doesn't matter. The BCCI has enough and more money. But these associate member countries are dependent. So what Pakistan is doing is it is sabotaging entire global cricket. It is sabotaging the ICC. It's sabotaging the interests of the associate nations, and it is harming the interests of global cricket. As a result, all of these member boards are now united. From what I understand, back channel talks are on since last night, and every kind of action is being mulled against Pakistan the moment the PCB formally responds to the ICC and tells its decision of boycotting the India game on the 15th.
Shomik, over to you next, because from what we've heard from our sources, we put out this report this morning, and the language was quite grave. One of the sources here said that this could be potentially suicidal for the Pakistan Cricket Board, for Pakistan cricket in itself. I understand you also have been speaking to your sources. What is the what is the development when it comes to the ICC at this moment?
Gargi, last night I had a conversation with Ehsan Mani, the former ICC president. I have known him since 2003, and he offers a very fair perspective, and I have huge respect for him as an administrator. So I asked him, what could be the consequences? He told me, see, there have been precedents of teams forfeiting their matches at the World Cups. Australia and the West Indies in 1996, 2003, England refused. Australia and West Indies refused to go to Sri Lanka. 2003, England didn't go to Zimbabwe. But I understand that. See, all said and done, Mr. Money has some limitations because although he has British citizenship, some of his family members are still in Pakistan, and this government. I mean, what they have done with Imran Khan. So if they can do something like that, if they can do a legend like Imran Khan like that, then no one is safe in that rogue country. Now, the whole case is, and I told this to Mr. Money, that Mr. Money, there is a clear dichotomy here. Because in those cases, there were security concerns, genuine security concerns. 1996, it was the height of the LTT movement in Sri Lanka, and only a few days before that game, there was a bomb blast. 2003, Zimbabwe's situation under Robert Mugabe was seriously bad, especially for the white people. Seriously bad. Here the dichotomy is Pakistan, there are no security concerns because Pakistan are going to Sri Lanka. If there were security concerns, they wouldn't have turned up to Sri Lanka at all. This is selective participation by which they are undermining the sanctity and the integrity of the competition. When before any ICC event, every participating member signs that member participation clause, and there is a point in that clause that's subject to government approval. Fine, subject to government approval. Pakistan might say that yes, look, India followed the government directive and didn't come to Pakistan for the Champions Trophy and played their matches at the neutral venue. Here we are just following the government directive and going ahead. We are heading into a very messy legal wrangle. And there, even Mr. Mani also said that government directive is going to be Pakistan PCB's shield. But here in this case, that doesn't hold water for the very fact that they are going to Sri Lanka. They are going to Sri Lanka. As regards the consequences, we have to see, because Bodia has already broken the story that over the next 48 to 72 hours, the ICC board will meet. I think as back channel talks have started, I think initially they will try to resolve the issue through dialogue. I mean, it is not that when, as and when the board meeting happens, it is not that, this is my assumption, that they are summarily going to ban Pakistan from the tournament or stuff like that. They will ask Pakistan formally, once PCB informs its decision that Pakistan will not be playing against India on 15th, they will ask PCB to reconsider. And if if PCB refuses to budge, so many options are open. First of all, $38 million lawsuit. Now, the broadcasters and Ashok will explain it, can explain it better. The broadcasters cannot directly sue PCB because their agreement is with the ICC. They will take the matter before the ICC. And ICC, in turn, will ask PCB to compensate. That can be by deducting that amount from PCB's revenue share, by withholding PCB's revenue share for undermining the integrity of the competition, undermining the integrity of the tournament. And then again, we have seen in the past, like if I am allowed to draw a football analogy, when Iran and US are drawn
Yes.
in the same group at the FIFA World Cup, they play because they know if they don't, FIFA will come down hard at
Right.
them. And similar, a lot of things can happen. A lot of things can happen. And as sources close to the ICC have said, this move could be potentially suicidal for Pakistan cricket. And that pair I flashed, where the two operative words are in your own country, in their own country, the three operative words, implications in Pakistan, in your own country. So Pakistan will have to keep that in mind.
Absolutely. Debashish, the question here is they are already playing in Sri Lanka, which has been, agreed upon by both the countries, by the ICC, PCB, everyone involved. It has been, signed and agreed upon. So when we talk about what grounds does Pakistan have to boycott this game or give a walkover, because in the past we've seen many walkovers being done, but that was at the consultation of whatever their respective governments and a security threat. At this point, there is no security threat in Sri Lanka. So PCB is in deep trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you look at the bigger implications, when are the elections in Bangladesh? It's on February 12th. And so in doing so, in boycotting the India game, what the Pakistan government is trying, they are showing this support to Bangladesh. Means clearly there are political implications here. It has got nothing to do with cricket. Means in terms of cricket, it has got nothing to do. Means to Pakistan, by showing their solidarity or support towards Bangladesh, remember the new government will be formed after the February 12 elections, and this is clearly the Pakistan government's way of showing their support. Obviously, everyone knows what is it with Pakistan when it comes to promises and supports and stuff like that. But clearly, this has come in obvious. And remember, the PCB has not sent an official mail to ICC. It is clearly done by the government. So government is trying to show their sentiment of support towards the Bangladeshi people in trying to gain the support of the Pakistan Bangladeshi government, the new regime that comes into force. So clearly these are all political connections surrounding this, the decision that the Pakistan government, it has got nothing to do with cricket because security wise is absolutely fine because the Pakistan team along with the Australian team is traveling in a few minutes from now, 12:45 I'm told Pakistan time, that both the teams will be traveling to Colombo. Around 5:30 both the teams will reach the Bandaranaike International Airport in Colombo. So clearly when it comes to security, there is absolutely no security concerns for Pakistan because they are playing all their other group link matches except for India. So that logic doesn't even stand ground. So I think this is clearly a politically motivated stance. And if PCB also walks the way Bangladesh Cricket Board has followed, I think there will be severe consequences for PCB, because do we taking such a step at such a, I mean, with just 5 days to go before the tournament kickstarts, means what you are taking the fans, the supporters, the broadcasters, everyone for a toss. Remember the journalists who will be traveling from India and Pakistan to cover the matches. And all of us will be traveling to Colombo to cover the match. And there will be multiple others, and the fans who has brought in tickets, the broadcasters, the huge crews, that the crew members and the logistical it will be a logistical nightmare. So I think by taking such a step, I think PCB will definitely be involved in dialogues. But they cannot take such a drastic action, and ICC in that very particular mail has requested them to reconsider its decision. So I think and it can only happen through dialogues, Gargi.
Before I go back to Ashok, I'll ask Boria a question here. What are the latest developments in the ICC? What are your sources saying at this point, and what are the actions that ICC could take from here on?
What I'm being told is over the next 48 hours, there will be an ICC board meeting. In fact, they are saying it could be as early as Tuesday or maybe Wednesday, maximum Thursday. So all the kind of, back channel talks and negotiations are on. Every board is kind of miffed with this Pakistan call. There will be an ICC board meeting in which the decision will be taken as to what is the way forward. But one thing is for certain, all of the member boards, every member board within the ICC is now seeing through this acutely political stand of trying to politicize the game and use geopolitics. And direct government intervention is not something international sport ever tolerates. That is ground enough to create a suspension for Pakistan. However much that Pakistan will say it was a government call, the announcement was actually made by the government of Pakistan and not the cricket board. So this is direct government intervention, direct government interference in the running of a sports body. And I don't think Pakistan will be able to avoid sanctions this time around, and severe sanctions from the ICC.
Ashok, coming back to you now. Now help us understand the implications that this walkover will have on the broadcasters. Because broadcaster is one of the biggest stakeholders in any type of tournament, especially when it comes to a World Cup. These rights are not sold cheap. These rights, it is sold in bundles. It is sold for billions, millions of dollars. Help us understand the implications.
Absolutely, Gargi. So, look, when a broadcaster, picks up the media rights for a tournament like the ICC tournament, there are contractually a fixed number of matches which the broadcaster is contracting to say that the broadcaster will actually broadcast all these matches. These matches, depending on the number of overs, provides a certain inventory which is then sold to advertisers at a pre-decided rate. Now, there would be premiums that are ascribed to certain matches. Obviously, playoffs or hero contests will lead to a premium. And that is how the market works. And that is how the advertisers basically pay for a cricket broadcast. Now, something like this, if I were to use an example, if the value of the tournament is, let's say, 100, and let's say that the value of an India-Pakistan match is 250 within that, it's not that because there is no India-Pakistan match, the loss is 250,000, advertisers continue to pay the balance 750,000 and everything is normal. It doesn't work that way. First of all, there is ad inventory, which is volume. There is pricing, which is always going to be, let us say, a 5 to 10% premium to the volume that is there. Second, the moment that the hero of the show, which is an India-Pakistan, and it doesn't matter here whether India is going to beat Pakistan or it's going to be what is the margin of victory, is it a closely fought game, is it going down to the wire, none of that matters. That is the cricketing part of it. The commercial aspect of it is that the India-Pakistan match remains amongst the top 20, top 30, top 40 significant television events in a year for a broadcaster. It is akin to a large movie release, a movie premiere, and it is accorded that kind of a premium from a broadcaster perspective. So what happens is that when this is sold, there are premiums attached to it. And the moment that you remove that from the equation, the advertisers come back and say, hey, what happened? My hero's gone. And therefore, I will now renegotiate the rates. and I will therefore pull it down in terms of what I'm paying for the tournament. So the broadcaster is hit not by the value of that 250 that is gone, but there is a hangover onto the balance 750 because the advertiser is renegotiating both the premium as well as overall outlays on a tournament. What it does, therefore, is impact not just the match, but the credibility of the tournament goes down because ultimately advertisers pay for predictability. The moment predictability is gone, the equation of the equity of a tournament goes down drastically. And therefore, for the ICC, it's a matter of prestige, it's a matter of equity of the tournament, and they cannot afford to lose that.
Shomik, there's a question here. Saugata is saying if it was FIFA, then Pakistan would have been banned by now. We know, Shomik, that when it comes to USA and Iran, two countries that have no diplomatic relations, in Iran, US is represented by Switzerland. In USA, Iran is represented, out of all nations, Pakistan. Yet, the two countries play each other when it comes to FIFA because logically, one, there is no security issue when they are playing each other. And number two, they risk being banned by FIFA for political intervention.
Ashok mentioned something very significant, pulling down the credibility of the tournament. And pulling down the credibility of the tournament is not something that anyone will accept. ICC, see, these World Cups are ICC's babies, right? And the thing is, once you pull down the credibility of a World Cup, then you are going to suffer consequences. On the face of it, the the ICC clause says that if a team is forfeiting a game, they are losing the points from that match plus the entire net run rate. The net run rate for all 20 overs they are losing. That is the cricketing part of it. But it is like compromise. It is like undermining the integrity and the sanctity of the tournament. So from that perspective, and if you add the whole dichotomy into it, so it makes things very complicated for Pakistan Cricket Board. Yes, they will play that the government approval card, or the government didn't approve them. That is their only recourse. That is their only recourse. But as I've said earlier, it is not going to hold much water in this case because you are contradicting yourself here. Because you are going to Sri Lanka, but which means there are no security threats, and you are not, but you are opting for selective participation. And also, what is going to happen if India and Pakistan, if there is a, if India, if Pakistan qualify for the final and face India against it, are they going to boycott that game also? So, what will happen if India and Pakistan face each other in the knockouts? So, from that point of view, what you have been doing is it is just contradicting yourself. Okay, you are trying to play to the gallery, you are trying to do political grandstanding, everything is fine, but you are subverting the basic fundamentals, the basic tenets of participating at a global event. And there would be consequences. What consequences? We have to see. And as I am assuming, we are heading for a very messy legal wrangle. This might even, if the sanctions are imposed, then Pakistan will respond to that also. Pakistan will not accept the sanctions, and this might even heading to Lausanne before the Court of Arbitrations for Sport, as that could well be a possibility.
So you do think CAS might be involved later on?
Could be, but that is hypothetical. Let's see how,
Correct.
because I'm not ruling out I will not say I believe, but I'm not ruling out the possibility of Pakistan backtracking, as because the back channel negotiations are on and going ahead, that through dialogue, and once it dawns on the Pakistan Cricket Board what they are going to face and how cricket in Pakistan is going to be hit by this impulsive decision, um,
Correct.
There is an outside chance. There is an outside chance that better sense might prevail. And if they backtrack, they have 15 days to do it. Less than 15 days, about a fortnight to do it. But hypothetically, eventually, if the things are not resolved and sanctions are imposed, then Pakistan's response will be the chaos only, and they will not have any other recourse.
Before I come back to you, Debashish, I'll go back to Boria and ask him about Pakistan's game plan. What do you think from here on Pakistan will be able to do?
What is the Pakistani game plan? The Pakistani game plan is quite shrewd and cunning. They will say that it is government directive, it is the government's call, and the Pakistan Cricket Board has nothing to do with this. If the government says this, like the government of India did not give India permission to play in Pakistan, they played in Dubai. What can the PCB do? They are helpless in face of government intervention. It will not cut the ice, and I'll tell you why. In the case of India, they did not want to play in Pakistan because of security reasons, but they did play in Dubai. In this case, there are no security reasons in Sri Lanka. If there were security reasons in Sri Lanka, Pakistan would not have traveled to Sri Lanka, but they are traveling to Sri Lanka. They will play the rest of the games in Sri Lanka, so the security argument falls flat. Number two, what I'm being told is if you're boycotting India, you could have boycotted the Under-19 World Cup as well. You played India in Zimbabwe in the Under-19 World Cup. You lost to India. So this whole argument that we are not going to play India in ICC tournaments also falls flat. So every argument that Pakistan could have given that, oh, we don't want to play India, there is a security issue, everything falls flat in this case. They are traveling to Sri Lanka. That is where the match is. There are no security threats there. You have not boycotted India in the Under-19. And finally, this connecting India to this Baloch thing is not something that has gone down well with the Indian establishment at all. So be very, very sure that serious sanctions are coming Pakistan's way, and this time they've pushed the thing too far.
Debashish, from what we've heard from our sources, that India is keeping itself and obviously denying any sort of involvement in the Balochistan issue as well, which has gone forward and strained the relationships even more. And we have a super chat here from Sarvesh. He's saying, honestly, I have no trust in ICC. Can you tell me where the ICC official press release of 14-2 voting for Bangladesh outing? There was no press release from ICC. This is coming from strong sources, and you can tell that it's true by how many of us reported on it. And I don't think anyone will go out there and deliberately put false information, especially credible news sources.
No, Gargi. There was a press release from ICC. There was not 14-2. ICC are not going to reveal the voting pattern at the board meeting. There was a press release, and that press release categorically mentioned that ICC absolutely overwhelmingly decided that the schedule of the T20 World Cup will not be altered. And the board asked Bangladesh basically to reconsider its decision, and the matter was put to the vote. It clearly means that there was an overwhelming majority, and there was a press release in that regard. Nobody. It's not only Rave Sports. Whoever has reported on this, they reported based on facts and based on the press release put out by the ICC.
Yes, Debashish.
Yeah, and if you go back to that press conference by Aminul Islam Bulbul, means along with Asif Najrul, he categorically on record said that yes, there was a voting, but I cannot disclose it to the media. So clearly, Bangladesh Cricket Board president has also accepted that this is something that cannot be shared in public. So clearly, and ICC, as Sominja said, it has sent a press release immediately after that the decision was taken. And now, what is the way ahead for ICC? I just want to say that ICC, it's time now for ICC to rethink their decision of not keeping India and Pakistan in same groups in any ICC tournaments from now on. Means that is one thing that can be done away by avoiding this sort of situations in forthcoming ICC events. Means obviously we are yet to know what is going to be the repercussions as far as this situation is concerned, but clearly this is something that ICC needs to look ahead. Means obviously since 2012, it has always been India and Pakistan being placed in the same group in any ICC event. So that has to be done away with. Means no way you cannot have both the teams, means what they obviously where both the governments are in conflict with each other. You cannot, because there will be issues every time and again. So this could be avoided with by not keeping the two teams in the same group.
Yeah. Just before I go to Shomik, when I mean there was no press release, I mean the numbers 14 to 2 was not revealed in the press release. That's what I meant to say. Yes, Shomik.
Gargi, just and Ashok, please correct me if I am wrong. Uh, this is a valid point raised by Devashish that not clubbing India and Pakistan in the same group every time. But I think that it is very difficult, or it's a tricky call to make, because um, for the current right cycle, the sorry for the sorry for the current right cycle, the media rights for the current right cycle is $3 billion, and a certain number of India-Pakistan matches will have to be played. So based on that media rights has been determined. So it is what Devashish raised a very relevant point, but I think it is a tricky call to make. I think Ashok can elaborate on this. I mean, even further.
You're on mute, Ashok.
That's right. Sorry. Um, you're absolutely right, Shamik, that when you value a certain media property and say that this is the valuation that is arrived at, it is a function of the various components of it, right? And one of that would be the number of matches, and that is how you arrive at the value of $3 billion. It's not a simple calculation, and therefore that's what I meant by saying that the premiums will go down, and that will erode both the financial as well as overall credibility of a tournament like this. Uh, However, going back to Debashish's point of view, there are other implications as well, which is that what is the implication of not playing a match against India? It means that your net run rate is going to get impacted. It's effectively going to be zero for that match. If you're in the same group, you're going to lose that out, right? So now putting it in different groups, then it is going to obviate the contractual obligations to the broadcaster, and that is a no-no as well. I think this is going to be a downward spiral any which way you look at it.
Definitely. And final couple of questions before we close the show. I'll go back to Boria and ask him, what is your opinion on this entire situation? How grim a situation do you think this is for Pakistan?
I will say this. I think Pakistan has played the political card a bit too far here. I mean, it is an acutely politicized situation. Mohsin Naqvi is a politician first and an administrator later. Pakistan cricket has been sacrificed. I think the ICC will suspend them. The ICC might even bar them from playing this tournament. The ICC is mulling barring them from playing international cricket. There could be bilateral tours which are totally stopped. There could be players not given no objection certificate, which means the PSL will come to a standstill, or the PSL will have no leg to stand on. The penalties could be imposed. Pakistan's share of the ICC revenue could be stopped. So every kind of sanction, including suspension from international cricket, is being discussed or mulled over by the ICC. Do not rule anything past ICC, because, as I said, the Pakistan cricket establishment has pushed it too far. This is direct government interference, and ICC understands that it's a tactic for force majeure, which I don't think will work with the ICC this time round. Even if they go to CAS, I am told that Pakistan will have a very slim chance there. So this has become a really grave situation.
Okay, all right. On that note, we'll take your leave. The coming days are expected to be extremely critical, as the ICC will obviously deliberate on the matter and come to a conclusion here. Obviously, there still hasn't been any formal communication by the PCB to the ICC. So let's see how that matter evolves as well. But we'll take your leave. We'll be back at 5 p.m. once again to discuss on this matter. If there are any updates, we will give it to you, obviously. And at the end of the day, someone's asking a lot of questions. Okay, let's take this one. It's a good question. ICC says selective participation is an issue. Then why does India not play with Pakistan during the WTC cycle? Because that's bilateral cricket. And India's sporting policy says that it will not engage in any bilateral cricket with the Pakistan cricket team. So that's simply the answer to it. But okay. Yes, Ashok.
Yeah, I don't think we've really looked at what is the implication for Pakistan as well. I mean, it is not as simple as saying that I am going to participate in the tournament but not play against India. It is like a child saying I will not have broccoli, and then the mother tries to kind of incentivize the child to have something. It's not that kind of a situation at all. Look at the numbers. Shamik in the beginning of the show mentioned $38 million is the impact on Pakistan. Yes, the allocation of the ICC proceeds is 6% for Pakistan and 38% for India. So 38 million versus what India gets, about 230, 240 million. Now, one may argue that India's loss is going to be higher, but that's not the way to look at it. The way to look at it is that this, as a percentage of the total revenues from cricket, how does that look? And that's where, it becomes very stark. Because this number for Pakistan is 70 to 75% of the total revenue, while for India, it is less than 10%. And therefore, you are effectively running the cricket ecosystem in Pakistan to the ground by doing this.
Absolutely, that's a very valid point made there by Ashok, and a very important one as well. We'll be back at 5. We will discuss about more walkovers in the history of sport and how
See,
this is.
Gargi, just before we sign up, Gargi, see, India had valid reasons to boycott the Asia Cup. If we go back to the Asia Cup,
Yes.
because that terror attack happened only a few months before the Asia Cup. But India had serious valid reasons. But what India BCCI thought about the wider cricket ecosystem, the associates, countries like Oman, UAE, the associate nations, the proceeds, the revenue generated from the tournament. India doesn't need a penny from the Asia Cup, but associate nations. So here, not only Pakistan, implications not only for Pakistan cricket, and it is for the wider community also, the wider cricketing world also, the associate nations also, revenue generated. It's a trickle down effect. And by doing this, Pakistan is jeopardizing the entire system. And when you do that, the parent body is not going to take it lying down. Simple.
Absolutely. On that note, we'll take your leave. Obviously, we'll be back at 5 p.m. We will discuss about more walkovers in the history of sport, and of course, we will also distinguish how this is different from those moments. Because when it all boils down to one single reason, which is security reason, security issues, security concerns, which Pakistan does not have any at the moment. So, how does this affect Pakistan? Will there be any more updates from ICC? Of course, there will be, and we will be reporting on it. So stay tuned to Rev Sports, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you, Debashish, Ashok, and Shomik.